I've heard it said in the readings that I've done that when people die, and NDEs, sometimes they die and they go, and when they get to heaven or wherever they're going, right, they meet their pets, some of their pets that had died. And I've also personally experienced pets who seem like it's the same energy of that pet back again in a different pet. Like, this cat is just like that cat, or this dog just like that dog. Is like, is that because I have I'm particular at picking animals that are the same, or are they actually that pet reborn, you know? So it's a question I sometimes had in my head. Welcome to another episode
of Driving to the Res
with your favorite hosts,
Larry
and Inelia. Got me.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation. But before we do that, just to remind everybody, you can find all of our podcasts and our second hours at drivingtotheres.com. Our second hours is for supporters, and it's $8 a month, so it's super cheap. You can send us more, of course, if you want to. We're not going to say no to that. So support our work and listen to the second hour with our amazing panelists, where we go in depth and uncensored.
Uncensored.
Because all our media, where hosting locations are blocking us and deleting our content. So,
or they call it.
We don't.
They call it de-amplifying, honey.
We are not censoring ourselves. In our second hour, that's privately hosted. So, so that our channels don't get deleted. We do cover things, our views. You can find us and find out what we are teaching people about, or what we're talking about, expanding our awareness and our topics. And this one is one of my favorites. It's about the rebirth of animals and pets.
Yeah. And
we are going to write a book about it.
Yeah, we, and when we say we, she's going to write it. I'm going to read it.
Because I think it's a topic that a lot of people can sense and feel, but they don't have words for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've experienced it and not known it's being a thing that I experienced, but I experienced it as a strong pull,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm sure. I wonder why that light keeps on to say hi to you.
Hello.
It keeps popping in to say hello.
On the video, there's a beam of a sun.
A little sunbeam. Just loves touching you, honey.
Yeah, it's on my face.
Anyway, can animals? You've heard of reincarnation, and I know some people believe in it. You could be reincarnated 100 times. You have 1,000 lives. You have past lives. I mean, if you're listening to this, you're probably somewhat well versed in the whole idea of reincarnation, right?
Yes.
And multiple incarnations and past incarnations, past lives. Some of you probably went and had past life readings. I had one. Well, I kind of had one.
What?
Past life reading.
Oh, yeah, like regression.
Fred, remember regression?
It wasn't a reading, it was a regression therapy.
Yeah, the words you use are more accurate than the ones I use, but, past life. Thanks. Yes. Anyways, I've heard it said in the readings that I've done that when people die, and NDEs, sometimes they die and they go, and when they get to heaven or wherever they're going, right, they meet their pets, some of their pets that had died. And I've also personally experienced pets who seem like it's the same energy of that pet back again in a different pet. Like, this cat is just like that cat, or this dog just like that dog. Is like, is that because I have I'm particular at picking animals that are the same, or are they actually that pet reborn, So it's a question I sometimes had in my head. But as usual, back in the day, I didn't really give it that much thought because, there's a lot of fish to catch and things to do. So let's go do that instead.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So I wish I'd have read this article, the article you wrote for this podcast. And this article is called Chinook are Chinook, the reborn puppy. Can animals be reborn? So the answer is
Yes. Let me tell you a story of one animal's rebirth. I won't call them reincarnations, even though you mentioned that word, because that word means back in the flesh. Reincarnation is what a soul does when they join with a physical body to have a physical experience. We call these incarnated creatures humans. Other creatures like dogs, cats, birds, fish, plants, etc. take matter and shape it to their expression of existence. They become in flesh, not incarnated, but born. Our bodies are born. Our souls are incarnated.
okay. So rebirthed. Can we
The
call it
animal?
that?
Yeah.
Rebirthed.
The animal I'm talking about is our dog Missy, who passed away a few months ago after a long and happy life. She was a happy puppy. She was
Missy,
really old.
I thought you said this is about Chinook.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
I met Missy in Sacramento at my house. She was Larry's dog and traveled with him everywhere he went. They were inseparable.
In more ways than one, because everywhere I went, even if Missy wasn't like presently standing next to me, I was covered in her hair, and that went everywhere I was sitting. So she was everywhere I was at.
Yeah.
She was a shedder.
Yeah. We were sitting in my study, Larry, me, and about 3 other people. I can't remember who they were. Do you remember?
Oh,
Jess was one of them.
Jesse,
Yeah.
probably.
Jessie.
Yeah, it might have been when we came down for the Yoga James's event thing to try and put in a tent.
Oh, yeah, I think
We
so.
were going to have a Global Ascension Center tent or something like that.
Yeah, I can't remember who the other people were, but there's more people there.
There were.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah, so we were chatting away, and my cat Cleo walked into the room. Missy lifted her head up, and her body language said she was about to chase that cat.
well,
Which is like, you know. I looked at her, put my hand out, and said, nope. Missy looked at me, looked back at the cat, then lay back down and closed her eyes.
she was a good
She
girl.
understood that there would be no cat chasing in my house.
Yeah, she was a good girl.
An hour later or so, one of the other people got up from their seat to exit the room and walk past Larry. Missy's head popped up, she bared her teeth and growled. I used a strong voice to say, no, no growling. She looked up at her dad, Larry, who petted her. I told Larry, don't pet your dog when she growls at someone. She thinks you're telling her it's okay.
Yeah, I was telling her it's okay, but she probably interpreted it to me it's okay to growl at people. I was telling
Exactly.
her it's okay, you don't need to growl at him.
Exactly. So I said, Larry, stop petting her, and carried on talking to the other people.
Well, you're allowed to be bossy in your own house, so okay.
I said, don't pet your dog when she growls at someone. She thinks you are telling her it's okay. And Larry stopped petting her and carried on talking with the other people.
Yes.
At that point, Missy got up, crossed the room, and sat at my feet instead.
I was like, traitor! I pet you, and she tells you off, and you go lay by her. Okay, fine. I see how this works.
That was my introduction to Missy. A few years later, Larry and I got together, and of course, Missy came with him. It's a package deal.
You come, yeah, you want me? I come with a dog.
Larry wasn't really a person who was comfortable with public displays of affection, but I am. My culture and nature is to be very affectionate to one's mate, family, and friends. Mwah. One of our first walks together with Missy and my dog Fiona, who was also alive at the time, I held Larry's hand. Missy looked at our hands for quite some time as she walked next to us. Then she went to my side and held my hand with her teeth.
You know, it was cute. I thought, what's she doing? Bite you? So I'm sure she's going to get told off.
It wasn't a nip,
No.
nor was it casual. It was quite firm but gentle. She was holding hands as we walked down the road. I thought it was super cute, as I have had dogs all my life and none of them have done that. She's like put her whole mouth, you know, like on my hand and held it quite firmly so I wouldn't be able to put it away. But she wasn't like pressing it or trying to hurt. She wasn't nipping, you know. It's very, very different. Very different. Our dog Romeo nips as he gets excited to see us, so we taught him to find a toy to hold while he's saying hello. Puppies snip and chew hands a lot when their adult teeth are coming in.
Those
Needle
needle teeth
teeth.
are the worst.
So
He keeps biting me, goosing me, and grabbing my leg.
So Missy, already about 8 years old when she held my hand, was not acting like a normal dog of her breed and age. Larry told me how Missy was his favorite dog because she was a clear rebirth of his dog many years earlier called Chinook. Chinook was a part wolf dog with a very particular personality and physical traits.
He was pretty famous on the res. His most famous thing was when I would go fishing, because I brought him fishing one time.
He did not.
He did not like being trapped on that boat for 2.5, 3 days. That was actually on the boat that I just showed you a picture of, the Lillian S.
Yes.
I brought him out on that boat.
Okay, it's a small dog.
But the problem wasn't so much that he didn't like the fishing, because he didn't like the fishing. But at that time, we didn't have a dock to tie up, so I anchored up the boat in the bay, and we got into the skiff and went to the beach and left him.
Oh no!
So he was like beside himself. I don't know what he thought was happening, but he was left on that boat. We were probably never coming back. So he jumped off the boat and swam to the beach.
Oh my gosh!
And he never
went back
on a boat again.
Oh my gosh!
So every time I would go fishing, he would go down to the marina and jump on top of everyone's truck and sit on the roof, howling and waiting for me to get back.
Did you get lots of texts?
I got lots of texts. Your dog's on my truck again. Like, well, just tell him to get off then.
Oh my god!
You're right. Tell him to get off.
Giant
wolf dog can't do it.
Yeah.
You just have to live with it. It was different times.
Yes, different times.
Now, if you had a loose wolf dog running around there as Facebook, Karens would go crazy.
Oh my goodness. It's a very different culture. You know, in the res dogs, they're well known and very, very different to a culture that doesn't have pets or dogs running around loose.
In packs and
In
whatnot.
packs or whatevers.
Yeah, I mean, you get a pack of any animals that have a mind and a desire and just wishes of their own experiences and language that they speak. And then you mix in other animals that don't maybe speak that language. Maybe they're coddled, I guess, pets with owners who dote on them, so they don't know pack words, they don't know the language, they don't even understand. You mix them all together and you end up with a volatile mix, let's just say.
Yeah. Chinook lived to a grand old age, and he died one morning after howling loudly at the bedroom window in front of the house.
So odd, because I don't know if you've been aware or read, but oftentimes when people are dying, they'll experience a moments of lucidity right before.
Mm-hmm.
He was like dead to the world, laying there, closed eyes, taking naps all the time, and when he would wake up, he'd barely move, just lick his water, a little bit of food, but not much. But it was like
old and
bed bound, kind of.
Yeah.
Barely get up, and then he got up and walked in some circles, and then we went and he looked at the house, and he's looking at the house like eyes were wide open, and then he started howling at the house. And then he went clunk, clunk.
Aw, he died.
He died.
Yeah. Some months later, Larry's daughter Morgan showed up with a couple of puppies, asking if she can buy them from the kids down the street, $5 each.
I think we're getting took.
One was a cute little button of a white shepherd.
Yeah,
Irresistibly cute, and the cure for Mrs. Chinook. Missing Chinook.
Yeah, the cure for missing Chinook was
A little white puppy.
Little white puppy, and her name was Missy.
Missy.
And she had little shepherd ears, a little shepherd face, a little shepherd nose, a little shepherd smile, perfect little white fur, a little button of a white dog.
So yes, of course, he bought both puppies, one for Morgan and one for himself.
I mean, why not?
What did it happen to Morgan's pup?
That was Sabitsby.
Oh. I thought that was Grace's.
Nope, Morgan's.
Huh. One of the funniest things about Missy was that she behaved like a male dog. In all behavior, she was male. She was in a female body. But one of the most obvious things was how she lifted her leg to mark the corner posts on places the male dogs like to be on.
Yeah,
Larry
I've never
told me
seen a girl
about-
dog do that before.
No.
Not-
I've seen it since.
Yeah.
But it feels to me like it's also a very similar thing. Like they haven't had many female rebirths, you know?
Or they're mostly male births.
Yeah.
And every now and then they get
A female incarnation?
he had to pick that one because the mama dog had a bunch of babies, but the only ones of the babies that I was going to be attracted to was the white ones, and those happened to be female.
And was he like a white dog as a Chinook?
Well, he wasn't white. No, he was a husky looking. He had white on him, of course. They all do, huskies, but he wasn't a white dog.
I wonder how he knew that you were going to pick up a white puppy.
Yeah. Well, obviously we have white puppies in our minds because all of our dogs are
Except for
some
one.
shades of white, but one.
No, two. We have all.
We were both somewhat attracted to white puppies.
Yeah.
Anyway, he figured it out.
One of the funniest things about Missy, so one of the most obvious things is she lifts her legs, right? Larry told me about how when she had puppies, she was startled and confused, not wanting anything to do with the little things. She had to be forced down to let the puppies feed, for example. Not a good mama dog at all.
No, actually, I checked in with Grace and Morgan about that, and she actually killed 2 of her puppies, laid on them, squished
Oh
them.
my gosh.
She was the worst mom.
That's really bad. After Larry and I got together in 2014, Missy lived with us for the rest of her life. She would look at our dog Princess Beauty, a teacup Yorkie, and decided she wanted to be a soft, white, fluffy dog that could be on her daddy's lap and sleep on our bed on her next birth.
She had it all figured out. She was outside, she's an outside dog because she shed a lot and she's kind of stinky, and
she
did
outside.
not like being inside. You tried to put her in the porch even, which is half in, half out.
Yeah.
And even on the porch on a brand new bed, nice soft cushy bed, with her own water, her own dish of food.
Everything.
She's still like, no,
At the door
let
scratching.
me out,
like,
let me out, let me out. She would rather go sleep in the mud under a tree.
Yeah.
And that's how Chinook was anyway. He didn't like inside.
And we were fine with that decision of her coming back as a tiny little thing.
Yeah. Because, she did see from the outside PBB on the inside riding on my shoulders when we're driving.
Mm-hmm.
And in bed, of course, she sleeps in our bed. And she gets on the couch all day. She watches TV in the evenings. She's got her own clicker.
So Missy wanted some of that.
Missy wanted some of that action.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what she explained to us. And, when she died, it was a bit of a surprise. I don't know if you remember that story, but when she died, she just went missing.
Yeah, she did. She just went missing.
And we searched all of our acreage for her, and we were able to find a dead deer on our acreage hiding in a
What's that called?
leaf litter. It was like a cache.
Yeah, cash.
Like an animal had killed a deer and cached it under a tree under some leaves, and just the nose is sticking out. And we could find that.
And it's a brown, you can't even see it from the dirt and the leaves.
This is a bright white dog.
Yeah.
And the most obvious place for her to been when she died was under the house because that's where she slept.
She loved being under the house.
Yeah. And that's where she was, and I really didn't want to go look under there and drag her out, but I did, and Dan did. We all did.
And she's not
No
there.
Missy.
We searched all our land, all the area. Not a sign of her, nothing.
Only sign we found was a glyph,
Sasquatch glyph.
which explained in a story way that they have found her, had buried her, and the direction and the place that she was buried. And it was kind of like, so you don't have to. They liked her too. They were giving her treats. Remember?
They would give her treats,
elk legs and things. And she was like, she'd have this giant pawn and she'd walking and it's dragging on the ground on one end, and she'd go up and show the other dogs through the fence, smiling, and then walk over and
chew it
just in front of them where they couldn't get to it. It was quite funny. So they had a fondness for her. They seem to have a fondness for white puppies also.
They do.
And maybe that's part of it. At any rate, they buried her. We actually couldn't find the spot because it's on the neighbor's property.
Yeah.
But we could understand it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah. So one thing I've noticed that prior to our relationship, Larry didn't have this conversation with his animals consciously, but now he does. And it's something I've always done. After she died, I would feel for Missy to see if she had chosen a new body, to express as a new body, right? And where she was in the process of rebirth, but all I got was complete silence, no information, nothing, which is very unusual because whenever our pets, even my really old pets, sometimes will get in touch and show me what they're living and what they're doing and stuff. And for her, it was like complete radio silence. Complete.
Which was surprising.
Very surprising, unusual, and weird. I kept thinking maybe she needed more time in the healing area of the in-between or something, but
I kept looking for little white dogs that were like pinging me, or different breeds that were little white dogs that I wouldn't mind having, and we found a few possibilities, but they weren't.
It was all no.
No, they were all no.
And yes, I can talk to dead people and dead animals. Anyway, I mentioned how odd and strange this was to Larry, and he agreed. Because she did say she's coming back as a little white fluffy dog. And well, she hadn't said anything, and it's been quite a long time since her passing.
Yeah, I expected she wouldn't. I expected, information within a few months to a year.
Yeah.
And hasn't been.
Nothing. So forward to September 2024. After our upgraded healers event at the Shaman Shack, Larry was working in the garage with Dan when a fluffy, soft giant, and I mean giant puppy, came to him. The puppy became obsessed with Larry, nipping and running around him and over. I went out to see what was happening, and the puppy ran to me and went nuts also. I turned to talk to Larry, and the puppy, who had been nipping at my hands, very firmly and gently took my left hand in his mouth. I looked down at him and thought, wow, he holds hands like Missy. It was very weird. I mean, this is a nippy new puppy with teeth like little needles, And he
ran up to you and held your hand.
My left hand, which is the one that Missy used to hold.
For me, when he first come around, I saw Dan with him, and Dan and them were I'd heard they were scolding him, trying to chase him off and keep him away because he's bothering the chicken. And I looked at that dog and I said, Dan, what are you doing? Don't send him off. Feed him. This is a livestock guardian dog. That's what you want to protect your chickens, not like chase him off. Don't be ridiculous. This is the best dog ever. I can't believe you got one for free. You didn't have to buy it. It was like across the street. Score. That was funny.
I didn't think about it anymore. I just thought it was very odd that this dog would do this.
Yeah. I kind of just thought to say, I was like, well, that's kind of cool. I got a free dog to take care of the chickens, so be nice to it and invite it over. Maybe it'll just stay here. That's my feeling, That's my feeling.
Later, Larry went across the road where the puppy lived and was chatting to the owner when the owner told Larry the puppy's name. He's called Chinook, and he's part wolf.
I was like... I slapped my forehead.
Yeah.
I literally did. And I said... Of course his name is Chinook and he's part wolf. He had no idea what I was meaning when I said that, but that's what I said. I was like, of course that's who this is.
Yeah. Larry looked at Chinook and immediately knew it was the whole dog back. His own Chinook had returned, too obvious to miss. But why? And it's someone else's puppy.
Yeah, why would Chinook come back and be the neighbor's dog?
That was weird. He came back to the Shaman Shack and said to me, "You'll never guess who that puppy is." Yes. He said, and I'm like looking at him.
What? What do you mean, who's that puppy?
Who's that puppy? I looked at the puppy. I had no idea. It's Chinook. He's back, he said, almost teary. I looked at Chinook, then back at Larry, and said, "Hey, Chinook was also Missy. Missy is back."
Yeah, because you had no... I mean, you never even met Chinook.
No, I didn't. That was years before me. Years. And then the chewy, nippy puppy holding my hand gently and firmly made sense. Of course, there was the tiny problem of Mrs. Chinook living on the other side of the busy logging road, with no fence, crossing back and forth, unsupervised, literally lathered
in fleas.
And owned by someone else who was also quite fond and attached to him. Because he's a nice puppy.
Yeah.
There are a lot of more details to this story, and the camping adventure that followed, which we'll be exploring in our podcast, Driving to the Rest.
Which is the episode prior to this one.
So if you want to hear the Strange Events story, you can go to our library and listen to that one. It's quite interesting.
Yeah, we brought Chinook to the Strange Day events. It was our first day with him.
Mm-hmm.
We plopped him in the back of the truck. Well, we gave him a flea bath, plopped him in the back of the truck, and went camping with a puppy.
Yeah.
Well, when I say puppy, you have to understand this puppy's the size of our Portuguese water dog, full grown.
Yeah. He's
Actually a bit bigger.
He's a big puppy.
I was just sitting outside petting Tiny, who's not Tiny. Tiny is our full-size, full-grown Anatolian Shepherd, who's a giant breed.
They're not giant breeds. I think they're large breeds.
He's giant.
Yeah, he's very big.
And Chinook the puppy is standing next to him. And he's not as tall as him yet, because he's 10 weeks old. But his paws are twice the size of the full-grown dog.
That's true. Yeah.
Twice the size.
Yes.
So we brought this giant baby puppy to a camping adventure in the woods with 30 or 20 strangers. Yeah. All day, all night, all day, all night, all day, all night, all day.
So make sure to listen to our second hour, because we're going to be talking more about the animal rebirth experience with our panelists. And of course, our cat Brad is a rebirth that we traced.
Oh, yes. So, I mean, I think it's worthwhile. Just mention a couple of things first.
Also, Romeo.
Yeah.
It's a rebirth conversation, Portuguese water dog. And my dog Charlie, right? That's connected to the story of Romeo. Yeah, so we have quite a few of those stories, and we're going to write a book about it. But back to Chinook. I just wanted to mention that when all this was happening, it's like we look for information, we look for data, and information starts coming in from our environment. So one of the really strange things that happened with Chinook that I didn't mention in the article, but I wanted to share with you in this podcast, was that a few days before we met Chinook, you know how I have an iPhone, and every day the iPhone will give you like a summary or like a little video, photographs from previous years.
It's like a little album thing with some music.
Yeah. And this particular album was called Puppies. And it was photographs of our dog Lucy when she was a puppy and all her brothers and sisters. And we had visited them when they were these giant, beautiful puppies. What are you doing?
You're glowing, honey. Just saying.
That's just the sunbeam. So,
yeah, well, how did it find you? We didn't plan that again. There's no sun.
There's no sun right above me. Oh my God. Oh, that's hilarious. Anyways.
You have to watch the video if you haven't. If you haven't seen the video.
There's actually a roof above us.
Yes, we're in a sunroom and a roof. But there's a roof and there's a screen.
A solid roof.
Yeah, anyway.
Anyways.
Something
yeah.
Album.
So, what was I talking
about? The video album, you got it.
Oh, yeah. So I got this little video, and it was Larry and I were holding these giant white fluffy puppies. Giant.
Yeah.
And we were holding them, right? All of the videos, beautiful, beautiful, giant white fluffy puppies. And then the very last photograph was of Missy sitting on the back of the truck. And I'm looking at it going...
She was in the pen, remember?
No. She was on the truck, like sitting on the back of the truck. And I'm like, that is weird. I mean, how did you get in the back of the truck on the puppy?
Yeah,
with the giant white puppies video. And I just didn't think any more about it, right? But then, of course, that's part of that collective consciousness giving you hints and information for you to put together. She is back as a giant white puppy.
Look in the back of your truck.
Look in the back of your truck.
And that's where he was, in the back of the truck. I brought him to town with us.
But he wasn't even
our puppy. So the guy we got him from, he was like, "We're bringing my dog?" It's like,
yes.
Yeah. Why wouldn't we? It's like,
and then he took him for walks, and then you know, so
Yeah, we went shopping for toys. We got
Yes.
2 toys, and
all the things.
snacks.
You just
and
say,
he's
oh,
like,
thanks.
thanks. And then I dropped the guy off in town. He wanted to stay in town, and I brought it. He said, "You can just take my dog home." He meant at his house, right?
Yeah.
And when we got to his house, there was
Nobody there.
nobody there. So we brought him home to our house. What is it, Rome? There's a skunk around. Anyway, we brought him home.
Yeah, we did.
And it was the very next day
Yeah.
when we brought him back to give him back. Oh, was Chinook crying and moaning? He's like, he did
didn't
not
want
want
to
to get in
go
that
back.
truck. He did
He
not want to go
wanted to
down
go
that
back.
hill. He did
Yeah.
not want to go back across the road.
You had to drag him into his
Drag
driveway.
him into his driveway. And then you did get a message,
You
remember?
did. I did. So Larry took him to a pile of cedar shavings. That was his bed.
Yeah.
He unhooked the leash, and I looked at him, and Chinook looked up at me, and there was like an energy of defeat.
Like I did all this.
There was like an energy of being defeated, and he laid down, and we were going away for 3 days to this strange events thing.
Yeah. Going
And I looked at him, and I knew that because we'd left him, he wasn't going to be alive when we came back. I didn't know how he was going to die. He could be run over or something wrong with him health-wise. So I didn't get that information, but he gave me the information. Like, you know, I'm coming back as a big, giant, fluffy dog. But if you're not taking me, then I'm leaving. Like right now.
I'm not waiting around.
I'm not waiting around. So I'm like, I looked at Larry and I said, give him $500 for the puppy. Which is
Offer
like
him 500
huge,
bucks. Yeah.
huge
lot of
amount
money.
of money. Huge, right? But it needed to be an offer he couldn't refuse.
Because he does love that dog.
He does, yeah.
Yeah.
He does. He really does. So, yeah. And you just looked at me.
I was thinking,
Larry's eyes
"Oh."
went huge and his mouth popped open. Okay, he said.
Okay. I happen to, which I never do, have $500 in my pocket.
That was weird.
In
That was
$100
weird.
bills.
Yeah, that was really weird.
Well, how much money do I got in my pocket right now?
None.
None. How much money do I usually have in my pockets?
None.
How much money do I like to have in my pockets?
Lots.
Lots and lots. But I don't.
Yeah.
So this morning, for some reason, I had 500 bucksies,
Yeah.
which became his money.
Yeah.
And I offered him this 500 bucksies. I said, because we'd had a conversation, he was moving. And he said, if I moved, would you take the dog? I'm like, yes. I forgot to ask you about that, but I was like, yes. And then I was going to ask you.
Yeah.
But I would if he was
Of course,
taking.
yeah.
I was like, I figured
You
we
knew
would.
I would too. I mean, you
I was.
know
I
that
was.
I would.
I can never assume anything, but I figured at the worst case, I would bring him next door to stay at the shaman shack and be the
Yeah.
rooster
Shaman
guard.
Shark, yeah. Guarding the roosters.
And you know,
there.
Dan liked him, and he'd take care of him.
Mm-hmm.
But when you said offer him $500, I was pretty much the happiest day of my life. And I had $500, and I ran over there right then. I was like, I'll be right back.
Yes.
I asked him, and he said, his eyes got kind of big. He said,
Yes.
really? I'm like, yeah, I got it right here. He said, well, I need to go ask my wife about it. But she's going to say yes because I say yes.
Yes.
They have that kind of relationship.
Yeah,
But he's going to ask
and
her.
he said, and she asked me to sell him anyways.
Yeah,
before.
she tried to sell him for less.
Yeah, something
before.
like that, yeah.
So it's okay. And I said, okay. I gave him the money, and then he was a little bit surprised because I said, well,
You're gonna take
where
him.
is he?
Yeah, you
He's
did.
like,
yeah.
we're going to take him right now? Yes, right now.
My dog.
It's my dog. It's like, oh, okay.
Okay, he's in the shed.
You open up the shed and he come running out so happy. That dog was so happy.
Yeah, totally different energy.
Totally different
than
energy. He
when
didn't
we
have
got
no
one.
problem going across the road and getting in the
Nope.
truck.
Nope. He was like, boom, boom, boom.
Let's
gone.
go. Let's get out of here. He's still a little bit reticent about going in the truck down the hill to the shaman shack. He's
Yeah.
a little bit. I'm not sure. Is
Not
this
sure.
for real? Is he weak
Gonna
or
leave
something?
me.
But yeah, he had his first flea bath that night. If anybody has a problem with fleas on your dogs or cats or whatever, if you give them a bath with Dawn dish soap, remember they wash the ducks and the geese and the other animals that are covered with oil with Dawn, so it'll work. You put that on them and you lather it up really a lot of bubbles. in the warm water and, get it all the way up and all over the place, let it sit there for a few minutes. All of the fleas have oil on their skin, and the oil keeps them from drowning. And if you put a lot of Dawn soap on your dog or your cat, it takes the oil off the fleas and they drowned.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it takes just a few minutes. And in that few minutes, that was his first bath, clearly. Chinook's. And that first few minutes, he was a bit, it's not like, oh, I'm so happy I'm in the water covered with suds. He was a little bit, what the heck are you doing to me? But then when the fleas stopped scratching around on his skin, because he would look at his leg or his side and bark at it.
Yeah, he would
bark at his own
legs.
self.
He
The
was
fleas were
barking
bugging him so much. Well, that little puppy laid down in the bathtub with the water running and it's covered in head to toe with soap and fell asleep.
Aww.
He was like,
the relief must have been amazing. Yeah. He was covered.
oh,
I've
that's a
never
trick.
seen
Get rid of them.
anything
You
like
could get rid of them all right away.
He showed me afterwards his skin.
Yeah.
I didn't see the fleas. Larry did. He told me what they looked like, but I looked at his skin afterwards and he was covered in little red dots, like covered every inch of him.
Yeah.
And we're like, whoa, I've never seen anything like that. Never.
Cedar bed helps, but we also give him a little oatmeal bath to get rid of the little bumps. And he's all perfect now.
Yeah. And the other thing that was wrong with him was he had eaten something, but there was something stuck in his guts. He was,
puppies will do that, like eat a sock or eat a foam or something like that. And he was free run of a garage full of
stuff.
a billion things, so he probably had something in there.
So there were several ways he could have exited, right, on those 3 days. We addressed everything. For the gut thing, like a bar of butter with
Bread.
and
If you ever have a
broth.
dog that swallows something like a sock and they're plugged up, you'll see they'll stop eating and they can't drink no more, and they don't go to the bathroom even though they try, nothing comes out. You give them a dollop of Vaseline, like not flavored Vaseline is best, not the scented one, just plain old Vaseline.
a spoonful of
A
that.
big glob of that, and a few minutes later, 15 minutes later, you take a piece of bread and you put some more Vaseline on it and globble it into a
A bowl.
ball and have them eat that. If they'll eat that within, I would say 6 hours maximum, that'll
Push everything.
push it out and it'll come out.
Yeah.
And if you can't get them to eat the Vaseline because it's hard, how do you get the Vaseline?
It's
Dog
really
bowl.
hard to get
In.
them. Yeah.
Not all the dogs will do that, especially when they're sick. You can get rid of big syringes like they use for feeding animals or goats or whatever. And you get the Vaseline and warm it up a little bit and maybe mix it with lard or butter or something that doesn't have to be
Carry it.
100%, helps carry it. And then you can just squirt it in the back of their throat and they'll swallow it that way. So you don't need a $5,000 surgery on their stomach to get that stuff out. There's other ways. Just so you know. So
That's what we did.
that's what we did. And he's perfectly fine.
It took him like a day or I think it took him a day before he actually went potty, but he actually started going potty and we were so happy. And he started eating.
Yeah. He's like a horse now.
Yes.
A literal horse. And a
He's
goat.
a
And a
lot.
cow. And yet, yesterday was the first day I fed him his chicken portion. Because I haven't figured out what I'm going to do now because we have 4 quarter chicken eaters. They eat their raw food, raw chicken, bones and guts and the whole thing. But now we have 5 dogs, so how do you split one chicken into 5?
5. By one of those big machete things going ching,
Ka-ching,
ching,
ka-ching,
ching, ching, to 5 pieces.
Hey, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. Well, he had his first almost a quarter yesterday. He's just getting the wing off of a Lucy's breast. Just the wing. He got his full portion, and with all the dogs, and they can tend to be somewhat aggressive, but I've trained them kind of out of the aggression. They're not so aggressive anymore. But I'm still worried about Puppy.
Yeah.
Because Puppy getting beat up trying to eat chicken in front of everybody. But no, it went perfect.
Yeah, that's good.
Everybody had their chicken. And then when he got done with his fast, because, he's
Puppy.
starving to death, of course. And everybody else is still munch, munch, crunch, crunch, crunch. And he ran over there. Guess what? He's going to take already Tiny's chicken away.
Oh, not Tiny. Poor Tiny. Everybody takes his
He went over to
chicken.
take Tiny's chicken away, and Tiny looked at him and chewed faster. So they said, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna go take Jupiter's."
So the story about the chicken. Tell him about this.
Well,
the story about
I'll
the
tell you.
chicken,
But
yeah.
first, he ran over to Jupiter to take Jupiter's chicken,
That is a bad idea.
and Jupiter was eating her chicken next to Lucy. Lucy's
Oh, no,
done
that's
with
a
her
really
chicken,
bad
and
idea.
Lucy saw him looking at Jupiter's chicken, and she chased his ass all over. It's like
Gonna be murdered.
he would have been murdered trying to take Jupiter's chicken.
Yeah.
So, for a little story, when Missy was
Missy.
we would go for walks, and we had these dried chicken treats that we get at Costco, and everybody get their chicken treat. Missy would have her chicken treat, but her teeth were getting a little bit gone,
She's
a
very
little soft, and it'd take her a little while to gum it up and get it nice and soft so she could swallow it. So she'd be walking along carrying her chicken treat, and Jupiter would see that she had one in her mouth and run at her at like 100 miles an hour and hit her with her chest and send her tumbling. And Neptune would tag team, both of them would bam into her. She'd go rolling down the road and the chicken would go flying out of her mouth. And the other dogs would run over there and grab her chicken.
And that is why she decided, not a little dog, a dog bigger than all of these dogs. I'm going to take their
She's
chicken.
going to take all of their chicken.
We finally figured it out.
That's why she came back as a giant Pyrenees wolf mix.
Yes,
Because those Anatolians, Akbashes, are not taking her chicken. She's taking their chicken.
exactly.
Which he just started doing.
Anyways, see you on the second hour.
Yep,
We're
see you
going to
on
be
the second
talking
hour.
a lot more about this all the information we
Pets
have
and
about
reincarnations,
pets.
and hey,
No, not reincarnation.
pets and rebirths. And remember, we have a story we'll share in the second hour about a pet who was coming and changed his mind.
Yes.
Why would your dog change their mind?
Right. Find out on the second hour.
See you there.
See ya. I mean, the only thing odd about Missy Chinook was that she was being so quiet. And I even mentioned it to Larry a few times. I said,
I was like,
I heard
really-
nothing.
I really
I've
don't
heard
get it.
nothing. What's going on? She promised to come back, and I was sure that she was coming back.